Welcome back into the QB Huddle podcast, where we discuss all things quarterback all year long instead of all season long. I'm your host, Tim Smith, joined by my co host, as always, Brandon Newey. And today we're joined by a very special guest, the man leading the charge into the UFL Championship game this Saturday, head coach of the DC Defenders, a friend of the show, and a personal friend of both mine and Brandon's as we've been on the golf course together. Head coach Shannon Harris. Coach, how the heck are you, man?
What's up, fellas? What's up, man?
Big
Been a long
dog.
journey. Been a long
Yeah.
journey, man. And appreciate you
Yeah.
guys having me again for sure. And been doing well. It's been a challenging season, but here we are. And we got one more to finish it.
Well, certainly been challenging for you guys. You guys have been through quite a journey. I'd like to talk about that journey for just a little bit, well beyond here. We've known you for 3 years, coach, since you first moved in here to the Arlington area, I think is where you moved initially. We met you through a great friend, Robert Kent, at one of his combines. But you've been through a lot in your career just to get to the DC Defenders. Talk a little bit about your journey to get where you are right now.
Yeah, I tell you, yeah, we met 3 years ago, like through a mutual friend right there, and Robert Kent, man, that guy. Actually, had some battles on the field together, so against each other. So, but yeah, it's been a journey throughout the course of my career of coaching. Starting out as a young guy, I was really young when I first started out, and coaching found me. I didn't go to coaching; it found me. So my offensive coordinator left from where I was playing at Tennessee State to take a job, at Eastern Illinois where Tony Romo was
Tony
there
Romo.
at, and we had battles. And then, he go off and do the things he's doing. And then my head coach at the time called me and asked me was I interested in coaching. And I was a young 22, 23-year-old kid at the point in time. And man, I took the job, and it's been a blessing ever since for sure. And all my many stops. So a lot of years, 20 plus years of it now. And so beyond grateful for all the moments, all the ups and downs throughout my career, and then just the growth from all the people that I had an opportunity to work with as well, and to learn from, and who has helped me get to the point to where I am today.
That's awesome stuff, coach. What would you say is your philosophy? We were kind of talking on camera, and I made a joke that you're the Mike Tomlin of the UFL. You're certainly a player's coach, but what's your philosophy going in and taking over as the head coach a week and a half before the season starts?
Yeah, I mean, the thing about it is, and the fortunate part about it is that we had already, had a philosophy, a culture set for us already. That even what Coach Barlow had started out here is the dash, right? And this DASH, and the dash was for discipline, the A for attitude, the S for sacrifice, and the H, the first H is for habit, and the second H is for heart. So, that's kind of like what we live by, and what we started this organization with, and we've been sticking to it, and it works. It coexists in what type of coaching that we have around here, man. And so that's kind of like that's our culture, and that's our philosophy.
Now, it hasn't been
Yeah.
all sunshine and rainbows, right? You guys have had a little bit of a roller coaster type of
Yeah.
season. Tell me, what's been the defining trait of this 2025 Defenders team?
Man, it started in camp to see our guys come together as a unit. You had so many individual pieces there, but once we realized that the pieces up front on both sides of the ball, right, on the offensive line and defensive line, once we knew what we had there, that was kind of the defining moment for us. We knew going into the season, week one against Birmingham, because we let that game slip away from us last season. We knew going
Hmm.
into the
Sure.
season that first week we were going to be a dominant team, and we felt comfortable going into it as well, knowing that we let that game slip away from us last year, and it was a challenge. And when I took over, it was like I'm glad and excited that we got Birmingham, on our schedule first, because from the word go from the first day of camp, our antennas and everything that we want to work for are going to start week one. and that's to beat the three-time defending champ. So it was no time for growth. It was like we got to be on our P's and Q's from day one. And so that's kind of the approach that we took going into camp.
And when did you see it? When did you know this is a championship caliber team? Was it the win in Birmingham, or what was the moment that the light clicked on? You said this is a championship ball club.
Yeah, you can see glimpse of it throughout camp, right? And you know how it is, man. We don't get OTAs, no mini camp, right? And it's not
Right.
like in college to where you have all summer and then you have a long summer camp or spring ball for that matter. So we knew once we had a scrimmage against Houston, what type of team we had, how dominant we were, how physical we were. Whenever we decided to run the ball, of course, that's a telltale too. When you can see yourself being able to run the football and being able to stop the run up front, that tells you a lot about what type of team you're gonna have, right? And so after that, going into that first game, the way we approached that game, the way we kind of got after those guys, we knew then what type of team we had.
Well, I don't want to take up all the time, Coach. Thanks so much for answering some of my questions, some things I was interested in. I know Brandon, he's got some stuff that he wants to talk to you about as well, as we're both so entrenched in you being in this championship game. So I'm gonna let Brandon take it away because he's got some questions for you.
You
Man,
got it.
coach, congratulations on getting here, man. I mean, that's awesome. It's a blessing. It's a testimony to, what you put into these young men. And, going into week one, just hearing about this journey, you take over week one, you guys built a structure and a philosophy for over the past years. And you had a situation where it's like all gas, no brakes, and you're going into that game where it was a sour taste in your mouth, but you finally overcame it, right? But let's talk about the big one, right? Let's talk about the big one. You're headed to the UFL Championship. Not many get there. How are you keeping this team, locked in and focused during a week like this?
Yeah, I mean, you're right, B. I mean, it's been a journey for sure, man. And
Yeah,
like just to tell a story from starting all the way back, we lost our offensive line coach first day of camp, right? And
man.
then one of a good friend of mine and our offensive coordinator who had an opportunity to coach him, Coach Braswell. I mean, he got a lot of NFL experience. He got a lot of Power Five experience. So, and he was available, and I was hoping and praying that he hadn't taken an NFL job yet. So, and he was available for us, and he was ready to rock and roll. And then that instant continuity there, and things like that helped with our guys up front. And then to lose Coach Barlow a week before the game, right? A week and a half before our first game.
Hmm.
That was another hurdle. And then to lose our defensive coordinator after week two, that was another hurdle. So these guys have been battle tested, man. Our coaching staff have been, amazing. These we all have worked together some kind of way before. And then to go into the XFL championship game, we definitely had a chip on our shoulder. And going into this game, the message, after every team meeting, I'm showing a clip of how we lost the XFL championship game in 2023.
Yeah.
And then I'm also showing the score how we lost to Michigan early in the season. And what it boiled down to in both of those games, we lost basically our fundamentals. The team that beat us, we lost basically off of all fundamentals. And so that's been the message throughout our team. Let's not get too overexcited about the XFL championship. That was something that we know that was part of our goal, but the ultimate goal is winning the UFL championship, man. And these guys have put the work into it, man. And I can't wait to see them get out there and perform.
I got goosebumps. I
I
got
love it, man. I love it. And
goosebumps.
speaking about, you guys are facing, the Michigan Panthers. They have a pretty outstanding quarterback themselves, Bryce Perkins, who's really, really put some things together this season. What do you think is, the biggest challenge when preparing for them? And what are you expecting to see from them on Sunday without giving so much away?
Yeah, no, I mean, let's say this, man. Coach Nolan, a lot of respect for him and his coaching staff. I'm a huge Coach Mike Nolan fan.
Mhm.
I'm a 49ers fan first. So,
Oh yeah.
from knowing him being from the 49ers, man, and I have a lot of respect for him. And
Yeah,
I've told him that before. And, but hey, we belong, right? So, the
absolutely.
thing about it is, man, Bryce is, very, very good quarterback, very athletic, strong dude. He's
Mhm.
that Donovan McNabb type, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
And then elusive like Lamar Jackson or that Jalen Hurts type guy. Hard to bring down, man. So you
Right.
got a gang tackle that guy. We don't treat him as a quarterback. We treat him as a running back. We treat him as a receiver. We treat him as a tight end. Anybody outside of a quarterback that knowing he can throw the ball, that's kind of how we treat him. And going into this game, so we got to make sure that we got 11 hats in his direction, and when he decided to run, and from there, but up front they're really good.
Yeah. Yeah.
On the offensive line, and their
Right.
running back, he's a spark plug for him. So, I mean, when we tackle or go to tackle, man, we got to have 11 hats to the ball for sure.
Absolutely.
Especially on those guys.
Yeah, you got to fly with that. And are there any particular matchups, or aspects of the game you think fans should be paying close attention to in this upcoming matchup?
I mean, again, man, it's gonna go down to the matchup of, on both sides, our all O line versus their D line, their O line versus our D line. And
The
then we got to make
trenches.
sure that in the trenches, man. And then, everything else will probably cancel itself out. I think we have a really good skilled group of guys, in the secondary, our defense and our receiver core and group and tight end. So, it's going to come down in the trenches. That's what it's going to do. It's playoff football and championship football. So, even in the NFL, man, regular season is totally different than when it gets to the playoff.
Right.
And
Right.
so you got to put your big
Absolutely.
boy pants on, big boy hat, your shoulder pads on, and you build your team for the success for the playoff and for a championship run. And our GM Von Hutchinson done a great job of that.
Well, man, that's awesome. I mean, you guys are, really up there right now. I mean, going back and looking at some of the schedules, like, man, you guys got off to such a hot start. And, go back to a test, that comes with leadership and just building that culture with what they're doing. I know Tim wanted to elaborate on that culture because you stepping in week one was, I mean, most coaches would get in that situation and they're like, "Phew, oh, okay, let's just hold on what we can." And man, you took it and ran with it. And that's kudos to you and your staff, constantly building and keeping that culture intact. And, speaking of that, Tim, I know you wanted to elaborate on that. So I know you have some questions, especially when building a team and coming in. How would you go about that, Tim?
Well, Coach, you mentioned it earlier that this is a team led by players, a player led team on purpose based on your culture. So, with that being said, if I was in that position, the first thing I'm going to do is lean on the guys that I know that are there that are going to be able to galvanize and get the team marching in the same direction, where it's not just coming from me. So, who did you lean on in the locker room to get the team on par and get to going in this direction?
Yeah, that's a great question, man. First and foremost, it was more of leaning on the coaches because if we're not right, they won't be right. So we had to make sure that we were all on the same page over again, for what we was asking for and doing those things. So once all got on the same page, it was more okay. Here's the guys that's been a part of our core group since 2023, and it was more so lean on those guys even more. And then once we leaned on those guys more, they took ownership of it, and they made sure things were right. And so that was kind of like the start of it all, man. Like you said, it's player driven, and most championship teams are player driven, and so they know how to police each other, hold each other accountable. And for us as coaches, we just got to make sure we put them in the right position.
Man, it seems
That's
like you've
awesome.
got the blueprint. He's got the blueprint down. And speaking of that, Brandon mentioned up and down season, a little bit of a roller coaster there. Of course, we understand, you kind of let Jordan sit out the last game as everything was kind of set in stone from a playoff perspective. But
Makes sense.
how do you keep the emotions in check through the ups and the downs after that loss? As an example to Michigan, how do you bounce back from that? How do you get everyone to come back from that and get ready for the next week?
Yeah, I'll tell you, man. Each week have a a mind of its own per se. You know what I mean? Each week it has its own challenges, right? And after that tough loss, and I mean, first starting out with San Antonio, as far as those guys was hadn't won a game yet, and then they come in and beat a 3-0 team in us in our own stadium, and they was going through a coaching change as well. So the biggest thing with that game was it was more of the thing was like this is going to be a type of game, a character game for us. Let people believe who we are. Let's not come into this game and let up. Even though we played well, they beat us at home, and then we bounced back again against Arlington in a great fashion, a huge
Mhm.
comeback to win that game here against Arlington. And then going up against Michigan, we knew that there was going to be a physical team. It was a gauntlet schedule. We knew we had 3 games in 13 days.
It's a lot.
So we knew it was going to be tough. But if we can get 2 out of the 3, we felt good about the season and where it was going to go. And we came out, with 2 out of the 3 games and with our wins. And so to be able to bounce back, and the challenge was too to our players is no great teams lose game back to back in a season. You know what I mean? Especially when it mattered for us
Right.
in those first 8 weeks. So they stood up to the challenge, man, and bounced back each time.
Okay. Okay. Well, one thing that all three of us have in common is we've all played quarterback, we've all coached quarterbacks, and then Brandon, of
Hmm.
course, has taken that to another level as you have with training quarterbacks before they get to their coaches. Brandon, I know wanted to talk to you a little bit about being the quarterback's coach and then being slid over into that head coach role. So I'm gonna let Brandon talk about that just a little bit because you
Yes.
two are kind of synergized that way.
Yeah, it's just I mean, we all have that common background just being a quarterback. And as a quarterback coach, you're in the room with your guys, constantly. They have such a different mental makeup than a lot of these
Hmm.
other positions, right? Especially
Hmm.
when it comes
Hmm.
to that specifically. But for me, it's just like, okay, you go from quarterback coach to the head coach. How does that dynamic, especially with your boys, those are like your your other sons is what one
Yeah.
of our quarterback coaches used to call. It's like now you have to really focus and cater to almost everyone. How has that relationship, grown, especially this season with the quarterbacks and you in this new transition, how have they handled that?
Yeah, I tell you, man, it's funny you say that because
We're
when
stingy.
that yeah, no doubt, man. And the thing about it too, bro, like it's as a quarterback, and you all know this, man, that you kind of already prep for these type of moments, right?
Yep.
'Cause as you get a record put on you, the only people get those records is head coaches and quarterbacks. So you kind of already prepared
Right.
for taking ownership of all this stuff.
Mhm.
But one day in practice, we threw an interception, and the defensive guy was running down the sideline, right? And I'm running down with them, congratulating them, cheering them on. And then in the meeting, they were like, "Man, coach, I almost forgot, man, you was the head coach." So, like, why coach down there cheering with the defense?
Right.
So, little stuff like that. You got to put that one hat off and put the other one on. And for
Yeah.
me, still just put the head coach hat on and leave it on, but at the same time, make sure that I'm still working with the quarterbacks, on the field during individual, and then in the meeting room, I'm still meeting with those guys, constantly going over the game plan, making sure that, everything in that they like. If it's something they don't like, let's take
Right.
it out. And then, let's make sure we're zoned into that defense, you know what I mean? Who we're about to play. But yeah, and then, I mean, I have one of the assistants here. He helped me out, who played for me at Tennessee State. He was one of my quarterbacks. So he's with us. He helped me out a lot. And when I can't meet with those guys, he's able to go over some things with them as well. And so he's familiar with me. He's familiar with the offense, of course, and everything that we do. So yeah, man, that's the transition. And it's one of those things to where when you play quarterback, you kind of ready for any moment.
Right.
100%.
Right. I know we're stingy with our time, especially, with quarterbacks and quarterback coaches. We're constantly in their ear, at least the good ones are. And I'm sure you guys have that relationship. So you mentioned a gentleman, one of your assistant coaches, that is now coming up and coming into this role. in being that pillar of communication, that chain of command for you. So how has he grown into this role, and is he one of those newcomers that we're looking out for the next wave of coaches in the UFL?
Yeah, man. He's a kid that played at South Oak Cliff as well, and
Okay.
Oh, nice.
he was
Sock.
one of
Yeah,
my
I got a sock
quarterbacks at
QB.
yeah, yeah.
Nice.
Okay, so it happened, last year, we were looking for a guy that can come out and help and do some things. And I was like, I got the perfect guy. He's right here in town already. He played for me, so he's already familiar with the offense. He know what's going on and all those things. And
Nice.
his name David Johnson, man. So he's been tremendous help for us. Even Coach Kais, our offensive coordinator, have gained a lot of trust with him. He's in the box with him. And I lean on him a lot, way more now because it's not like during the game I'm sitting on the sideline on the bench with the quarterbacks and with the iPad, right? So I have to rely on him a lot. Questions about, tell me what you saw in that last series, and then so we can kind of make an adjustment because
Hmm.
when the other team got the ball, I'm up there with the defense. So we make our adjustments between the three or four of us. With our backup quarterback as well, and Mike, and with Jordan and my man David. So they watch the clips. I go over in between series and go back and pull up a clip and have my suggestions on what I saw and what I think, or how we can be better within certain plays. But that's the trust factor with all those guys in the room for sure.
Yeah, well, it obviously shows. I mean, you guys got great, numbers when it comes to touchdown to interception ratio. I know Jordan leads it, but hearing that, it sounds like you guys are really in sync with what you're doing, and it looks like it's a straight line communication, which is that's what you want, especially going through those transitions. And so,
No
well,
doubt,
that's
no
awesome, man.
doubt.
I'm fired up to see it. Hope y'all tee it high and let it fly this upcoming game. So I'm looking forward to watching it.
And Coach, we,
Appreciate
we
it.
know you've got a lot going on today, that you're in the middle of production meetings and film and meetings with your quarterbacks and everybody else. So we just got a couple more things to go over that everyone wants to know. And this is going to be a 2-part question. And then since we're all friends, we're going to talk a little NFL talk because there's been some big quarterback moves here recently that I'd like to get your opinion on. But first and foremost, DC fans have been with you guys since the beginning. You have one of the best fan bases in the UFL. This is known. What's this going to mean to the city if you're able to bring the championship home on Saturday night?
Yeah, you said it, man. We have the best fans in all of UFL football, and I
Period.
tell you, man, they are so rowdy, and I'm very grateful to be a part of, what they bring to us and to DC. And so, one thing before we started the season, I showed a clip of our fans before we went and played that first game, and I told them, this is our passionate fans right here, fan base. And all the hard work that we put in throughout camp to where we are now, I said we owe it to them. And so we wanted to make sure that our fans, the way we played, we wanted to make sure that we showed their appreciation from that standpoint, man, by the way we played. And but man, I tell you, that beer snake is unbelievable. Uh I got up into the beer snake
Seen that.
once we clinched it, man. So, and I promised them week one, and I finally made my way to it, man. It was just perfect timing. But our fans are unbelievable, unbelievable.
We'll take that one step further. You raise the trophy Saturday night. What will that mean to you on a personal level?
I mean, on a personal level, man, it's the fruits of your labor, right? And all the hard work that you've put into it. And then it goes back to all the obstacles that you had to, come across. And it makes it feel that much better and that much sweeter, you know what I mean? And I wouldn't have it any other way, when you put all the work into it and you give everything your best, and then you see it come into existence for the players, anyone in our part of our organization, our support staff, and the coaches and everyone, man, that's the part what you do it for. You know what I mean? When you work so hard and grind so hard for all of that, and no days off mentality, just put your head down and just work. That's what all the late hours, all the long hours. So once you raise that trophy, man, that's what all that hard work come from.
Well, watching you raise that XFL trophy put a lot of joy in my heart. I know how much you wanted that, and watching you be able to raise that up on the podium, that was an amazing moment. And I hope you enjoyed it as much as we did, because I enjoyed watching. I've watched that clip about 400 times, so loved watching
Yeah.
you do that. What was that feeling like? Do you remember it? Do you remember being up on the podium lifting up the trophy?
Yeah, I remember every bit of it, man. And
Okay.
like I told them, we won that game on Wednesday and Thursday. How the way we put the pads on Wednesday, the way we did it again on Thursday. We knew that, this team, the team we were playing at the time, we knew that there was a team that wanted to run the football, and we knew that we was going to have to force them to stop the run because they have some really good defensive ends, and we knew they can get up to the quarterback. But the one thing we wanted to see is that if they could stop the run. And once we found our rhythm in the run game, once our O line got their pads in the ground, their cleats in the ground, we knew we found something from there. And we knew that, at that point, Jordan can stay upright and stay clean. Our play action pass is working for us. So,
Love that.
that was the whole plan going into that, man. So, yeah, so that was the thought process in it. I remember it all, but, the part why I remember it so much because it wasn't the one that we wanted to raise at the last for the last time. There's another one we want to raise up.
Oh yeah, you'll black out
Yeah.
Saturday night. You'll black out. You win that thing. You guys have a saying, and please forgive me if I mess this up, but us, we, and ours. Talk about that.
Yeah, man, it's not a one man show. We did this collectively, and that's the one thing that I wanted them to know. Like, this is not about me. We show it on our sign out front. And it's a big team up there over a little I, and so it's all team. And so, as we have team success, it comes with individual success comes with it. So it's all about team first, and then as we win as a team, then all the individual stuff gonna come along with it. So we just got to continue to do it together, man. Play together, stay together, and like you said, it's a us, we, and ours mentality.
Love it.
Woo, woo. All right, let's get into it. We've only got a
Oh,
couple minutes left. Aaron Rodgers is a Steeler. Yes or no? The Steelers should expect to be in the playoffs and make a run.
Unless they get their offensive line straight and then get a good run game to go along with it. It don't matter who's that quarterback, man. If you're not good up front, it don't matter who you are, and if you can't run the football, doesn't matter who you are. You can just go out there and you go 500 again.
Okay. Next question. Justin Fields to the Jets. Will this save his career or turn him into a career backup?
No, you know what? I think it will save his career, and I say that from a standpoint of they got
yes,
some really
sir.
good pieces. I think they just had to get tapped back into. You know what I mean? And whoever that coach was, as long as he was a good coach going into there, as long as he can galvanize that group of guys and get them all back on the same page, you feel like that roster was already good. Ironically, my offensive
Decent.
coordinator is the director of scouting there, so who I
Oh,
played
wow.
for. Yeah,
Okay.
so yeah, man, shout out to him, my man John Carr, for being there. And so, but man, I think, with his athletic ability, you know how it is now in the NFL, that
Yeah.
trend, man. You got a really
Hmm.
good athletic quarterback now. These defensive guys are so explosive. And so, I think they got a good receiving group there and they got a good run game, I think, and up front they can do it. So, defensively, they have been really good throughout the course of their last few years. So, if they can maintain that, what they already had, and add to it with the coaching staff and make it better, I feel great about the Jets. It's a
So
tough,
good,
tough,
good
tough
outlook.
division, tough
Okay.
division though.
Tough
But
division.
yeah, I think they got a chance though.
Okay. Russell Wilson to the Giants. What are your thoughts
I'm
on
a, Ru-
that? Will
I'm a
Jackson Dart
Russ.
be the starting quarterback by week 7?
Be crazy if so. I don't know why Pittsburgh let him go. I'm a Russ fan.
Okay. Me
And
too.
the one thing about Russ, man, he's a pro.
He's a pros
So
pro.
he's a pros pro. He gonna outwork everybody. You're not gonna outwork him. You know what I'm saying? No matter how much money he's made, his approach to the game doesn't change. And for whatever it is, the outsiders hate that guy for whatever it may be. But Russ, man, Russ a dude. I mean, I'm a Russ fan,
Let Russ cook. Brandon, you
Let
got
Russ cook.
anything? I mean, you got any
Of
49er
course, I
questions,
got
Fedor
something.
Sanders
Of
questions,
course,
anything you want to talk to?
absolutely, I
Oh,
got
coach.
something. How
Okay.
about those Niners, Coach?
Oh,
How
We
about the
got the
Niners,
deal
right?
done with Brock. Things are looking
overpaid Brock
good.
Purdy.
Yeah.
Life is
Yeah,
great.
yeah. Yeah, it was good. They got the deal done with Brock, man.
Saves us
Hey,
some money.
you know, excited for him, right? To be able, and I think that some good young pieces there they got gonna help him out. Debo is a Swiss Army knife. I think he just created more value for himself though, going to the Commanders for what they got over there, and I
Think
hated to
so?
see him. Yeah,
Mm,
yeah, man,
I
he's a
don't
Swiss
know.
Army knife. It's like,
He's good.
yeah,
Well, didn't
he's
Terry
good.
McLaurin just get traded yesterday to the Chargers? Did I see that?
Wait,
Said
what?
I thought I
I
saw
No,
didn't
that
hear
Terry
that.
McLaurin was going to the
no
Chargers.
way.
That's what I
They
saw.
don't
Yeah,
trade his number one
He wants
piece.
$30 million.
He should get it.
But
yeah, give it to
I don't know.
him.
I could be
Got
wrong
new
about that.
ownership, man. Give it to
Give it to him.
him.
He's been there through all the boo boo years. Give it to him.
But
Yeah, give it to
we,
He's
him,
still
man.
really good.
what's next
What
for you,
about
Coach?
Shador?
Win or lose this weekend? What's next for you? Are you gonna be in this seat next year still?
Hey, there'll be conversation had after the season, man. So
Good.
we'll see
Well,
how it goes from there. Yeah,
fingers crossed
appreciate
for
it.
you.
Yeah, but there'll be conversations had, and we'll see what go from there, man. For me,
Nice.
I'm a man of faith, so I put that all in God's hand, man. I don't
Absolutely.
have no
Amen.
words from that.
Well, Coach, we appreciate. It's been an honor for you to join us here today in the busiest week of your maybe professional career as you get ready to play in this championship game as the head man. Best of luck to you. Best of luck to the defenders. We hope you're able to bring that championship home. The QB Huddle podcast is presented by New Era Media. If you need anything done with videos, video editing, weddings, corporate events, podcasts, game streaming, to YouTube, anything at all, New Era Media can handle it. Go to neweramedialive.com to request any and all services. That's it for today's QB Huddle podcast. Be sure to tune in as the weeks progress. We will follow. After this win, we're going to have you back on, Coach, and we're going to talk about it. All right. We might even bring Jordan on, the quarterback,
Let's
some
do
other
it. Yep.
folks,
Let's do it.
bring you guys into the fold. But guys, Saturday night, 7 o'clock Central on ABC. Tune in as the the DC Defenders take on the Michigan Panthers for the UFL Championship game. Good luck, Coach. We'll be cheering for you.
Appreciate
Appreciate
you,
it.
Coach. Good luck now.
Appreciate you, brother.